get in the way. So let's take in a deep cleansing breath. Peace. Be still. Peace. Be still. God is here and all is well. Our statement of truth states there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. Let's take that statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. And let us prepare for our time of meditation by singing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
You're already in a state of relaxation. I'd like you now to relax into your gentle and feel attention. Put your attention on your face and just say, you are surely in a holy place, wherever you are. And right now we are among holy souls. Allow yourself to slip into your place with Jesus called the closet. He said, go into your secret place, closet, and lock the door. And there we pray. And there we also listen. I want to question, Orion. The question is not why you are so infrequently the person you want to be. The question should be, why are you so infrequently wanting to be the person you really are? You have no faith that who you are is enough, but it is. Who you really are is always enough. That's a good thought. Hold that thought as you breathe into the silence for a few minutes. Who you really are is enough. Now speak to the source of life, love and wisdom for all of us. May there be peace in this world, throughout the universe, and in our own individual lives. May we fully experience the overwhelming beauty of this world. May we experience holiness in every moment. And may all beings everywhere express their true divine nature, free and happy. So it is.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Climb every mountain, search high and low, follow every byway, every path you know. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till you find your dream, a dream that will need all the love you can give. Every day of your life, for as long as you live. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till you find your dream. Walk on, with hope in your heart. Walk on, with hope in your heart. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
I'm so glad I'm here 2 services. I get to hear Sean and Chelsea twice. That's awesome. And the best sermons are sung. And I've got to tell you, I mentioned it in first service. Sean is amazing in being in touch with the same spirit, evidently, that speaks to me, because every time, what he and Chelsea did is the beginning and the ending of the sermon I have for you this morning. So I could just sit back down again and let you all off for an early recess, but I'm not going to. Oh, thank you. I'm inspired. I'll try not to speak over time. What is mine to do? Jesus pretty much said, all that's ours to do, really, all that we have to do is love. The people in his day, the Israelites, were burdened with so many rules, more than the 10 Commandments that Moses came down from Horeb with. They had rules upon rules, told them what foods they could combine, and what chores of absolute living they were allowed to do on the Sabbath, and the rest of it they couldn't. All of that was so burdensome. And Jesus said, you don't have a lot you have to remember. Love God with all your heart, soul, being, with everything. Love your fellow man, and love yourself. And that covers all of it. And the only thing is, we sometimes wonder, okay, so we do the little nitpicking. What does loving my fellow mean? And Jesus gave parables about that. You're all familiar with the Good Samaritan. Basically, what the loving is we have lists, responsibility. You have children or pets or just this, one mother called it her daughter's bodies. That was their capital. They go out into the world. This is your capital. You have responsibilities to take care of those things. If you have a home or an apartment or you live in your car, you have responsibilities to take care of those things. Okay. We also have responsibilities to take care of the things that we love. If your love is painting, gardening, whatever, you have to do that. Charity, gratitude, creativity, integrity, open-heartedness, commitment. Those are all more words for love. I was just thinking about light. So often we synonymous with God. We call light. We're looking for more light. We want light. We live by the light. We walk by the light. We never walk alone. This morning I used the illustration. What if a light bulb here in the sanctuary goes out? Okay. How many Jewish mothers does it take to change that light bulb? Okay. None. It's all right. I'll just sit here in the dark. How many fatalists probably aren't here either, but how many of them would it take to change the light bulb? None. Because why bother? How many of us in this room, right here, would it take to change that light bulb? None. Who needs the light bulb when you have the inner light? Okay, that's pretty corny, isn't it? Well, now you're getting to know me. One mother, I mentioned the advice that she gave her daughters. Take care of your capital was the first one. Go into the world as a giver. These are just little what is mine to do items on a list. The biggie, of course, remember the biggie, love. Love, always love. Take care of your capital. Go into the world as a giver. She she wasn't unity, but she knew the unity principles are basic. If it's truth, it's probably somehow expressed in our unity principles. Okay? Go into the world as a giver. She knew that if you gave, you would get back. Meditate. She actually taught her daughters to meditate as children. It quiets the mind, gave the mother probably a little peace and quiet while they're in there meditating. Okay. Declare what you want, she said, and don't doubt its manifestation. How many children declare what they want sometime in November and they don't doubt they're going to get it in December? And usually it works, doesn't it? Trust that all is as it should be in your life and in the universe. That would give her daughters a sense of safety. And we need that individually too, wherever we are on our path. Trust that it's in hands more assured than ours. Gratitude is the magic key to happiness. So you knew that. Expressing gratitude, if you express it to a person, they're happy to do it for you again. Whoa, neat how that works, right? File that away somewhere. This is a biggie. Change that she said to her children, to her two young daughters. Change the channel if you don't like what's playing. That was her way of saying if something isn't going right, what can you change? You can't change the other person. Somebody in school doesn't like you. You can't change that person. Change yourself. Change the channel. Last one, don't miss the moment. How many times have we heard Ram Dass, be here now, or be in the moment? Because that really is the only moment we ever have. Now, now, now. Now we're beings in the natural order of the universe just as much as that courtyard, the plants in it, just as much as the butterflies, the whales, the lizards that like to hibernate, I think, in the screen I have above a window. All of that, we're all part of the natural order of the universe. And somehow or other, we forget that sometimes. Whales, they follow their natural order. I was thinking about the homing pigeons and salmon. They're homing pigeons. They have something in their brain that works to tell them how to get back home wherever you let them go. You take the little pigeon with you, I suppose, in a little cage. You tie a note to its foot, and it'll take it right home to your mom and tell her where you are. If it's a salmon, the salmon knows wherever it is how to get back to the place where it's going to give the new little baby salmons a start. Well, why don't we seem to know naturally where home is or where it is we're supposed to be going? I think we do. We just don't always listen. I think it's built into that Imago Dei, the, the image of God that Genesis says we were made to express. Now, obviously, we don't all look the same. We don't all like the same things. We're not all doing the same things. God, our definition of Him, and I could go off on a real tangent here, but I won't. Thank you. But God is infinite. So I can't express an infinite God. I have a lot of trouble just getting around a 3-item to-do list for today. So I think the Imago Dei that's here and there uh, is an aspect of the Creator, of this infinite thing that we feel and see around us. I was thinking about that infinite expression of God. Think of the God of Buddha. Think of the God of Moses. Supposedly, they both had an intimate relationship with God, but their gods were so different because they were expressing God. And think of how Eckhart Tolle talked to God and heard God. And think of how Charles Fillmore heard God, or various popes and people in sanghas. I attended a sangha when I was at Unity Village when my husband was there becoming a preacher. Anyway, all of these things are different and yet the same source. I'm off on a tangent already, but it's all the voice of God within speaking to us. Now, that's all kind of esoteric. Let's move to a few nuts and bolts of what is mine to do, which is the topic of this message today. Starting always foremost and underneath all of these things is love. Love, love, love. And the image being expressed through you in love. Okay. Stop saying yes automatically to everything. That's the first of my nuts and bolts. Because if you keep saying yes to it, believe me, you won't have time for the things you should really be saying yes to. And along that line, there's a book by a gentleman named Kute, Kute, Blackson. It's in the bookstore out there. It's called You Are the One, periods after each one. The subtitle, Finding Purpose, Discovering the Real You, and Loving Fully. Finding purpose, finding how the image of God wants to speak through you, finding the real you. Oriah, why do you always want to change who you are? Why aren't you looking for who you really are? Duh. Okay. Then there's a book near that one called Boundaries. When to say yes and how to say no. I'm a reader, you can tell. I mean, if I don't know it, my first resource, sometimes it's my friends, but they know about as much about things as I do. But books, my God, they're out there. And sometimes they're in our phones or laptops or whatever. Prayer and meditation always works. I'll give you an example. Ellen Davenport was in my late husband's seminary class at Unity Village to become a Unity minister. But before that, She was a journalist, a political journalist. She worked for UPI, which is a very respectable news source. And after that, she went to, what is it called? Times in Washington, D.C. And she was very good at that. But what really spoke to her wasn't being answered there. And that's when she heard the calling to become a minister, to go to Unity School of Ministry, as it was called then, at Unity Worldwide Ministries, which was then called Unity Unity School. Anyway, she's using her excellent writing skills now as vice president of, I have to read this, publishing and content at Unity Worldwide Ministries. And we're blessed to have one of her books out there because she is such an incisive, to the point writer. It's called uh, Five Basic Principles. This morning I called it Five Basic Unity Principles. The title of the book is Five Basic Principles. And you might think, and it is true, Five Basic Principles of Life. Anyway, very good book. So, my suggestions out there. There was a rabbi who went to sleep and had a dream. He dreamed that he was dead, and the angel who was allowing people into heaven said, "Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Just sit here and wait. When you hear your name called, come on in." Well, the angel had to call his name first, and that was a problem because the rabbi realized he could not remember what his name was. He tried, and he thought, okay, I'll recognize it when the angel says it. The angel read all the names on the list, and he did not recognize his name. By then he's crying. The angel says, no, no, don't worry. You can go back. And when you go back, remember who you are. So how do you find your real identity, your Imago Dei? Just, it's like a little seed in you. It's there. You were created with it. We have that promise. But it needs a little watering, sunshine. In other words, nurture it, tend to it, care for it, and we do that in these many ways. Here's one way. What websites do you visit when you're just relaxing? You're not researching, you're not on an agenda, you're just relaxing, and here's a few. What area of a bookstore or genre of movies do you browse first? When was the last time you put extra effort into a job or a project? What was the last time you lost track of something and you're feeling like Mihai Csikszentmihalyi said? He called it the state of flow, so you forget time. It's an awesome place to be, unless you're the timekeeper, oh well. What recurring topic or activity have you been curious about all your life? Those are things that will lead you to wherever that Imago Dei is planted in you and what it's calling you to express. And it's mostly a feeling project, not an intellectual thing. I recommend that you explore a few impossible things, as the White Queen did, I think, in Alice in Wonderland. And one of my favorite movies is Julie and Julia. If you've seen it, you're blessed. Okay. Julia Child was 50 when she wrote her first cookbook, when she became a chef. Before that, she was what was she, right? I can never remember exactly what she was. She was in advertising. Can you imagine Julia Child in advertising? But she's got that big personality. Yeah, she'd be good at it. Advertising. And then she became a spy. Look it up. I mean, Google knows everything. And then at 50, she wrote her first cookbook. Now she's 50-ish, gets this cookbook out, and a very young woman, maybe 30 years younger, is a food blogger, gets this cookbook, which is called, what is it called? Mastering the Art of French Cooking. And she decides, great, I'm going to make one of these recipes every day as my blog. I guess there were 365. I wouldn't know, I don't cook. But anyway, these two women never met, Julie, the blogger, and Julia, the chef, who by then is living in France with her husband, exploring in depth French cooking. And this is what Julie wrote. She says, though I never met Julia, she changed me. And she did it with a cookbook, an exhaustive, meticulously researched, accidentally profound cookbook. And the reason I'm mentioning it today is because I remember from the movie how the two lives never touched intimately. They never met. But they showed so many different faces of love. I mean, some of the tumultuous faces of love. You've all been in love. And they're all expressed in that movie, including passion of process, passion of creativity. Now, after that, be committed to give yourself more time to do what you love. If you're paid to do it, great, give more time to it. If you're just asked to volunteer to it and it's your love, great, give freely. If nobody even thanks you for doing it and you're loving it, do more of it. That's almost my final advice. I've got one more. The darker. Now, this is where the song addressed the conclusion, and you'll be glad to know it's almost here. When you walk through the dark, a storm, that's called the dark night of the soul. That's a wake-up call. It's a desperate one. And I'm getting goosebumps because I've been through it, and those of you who have been through it, it's a hard, hard way to go. But that dark night of the soul is a blessing. It's calling you to wake up, to do the work, the down and dirty, dig into it work of getting to know how the image of God wants to express through you. Okay, one more little tidbit. Breathe. When you're in the throes of whatever it is, take a breath and another one, just in case you need to keep breathing. It beats hard liquor and it beats hard drugs. Breathe. So, reviewing a little bit, stop saying yes automatically. Know yourself. What are you drawn to? Trusting that that's from the Imago Dei and not ego. Explore improbabilities. Commit to doing more of what you love. And if you feel a dark night of the soul, go through it. Go through it. So live the truth of who you were born to be, how you were born to express that Imago Dei. Let the labels go, pretty ones, as well as the ugly ones. You can be as grateful as a condemned prisoner who's just been given freedom. What is mine to do now, in this moment? Be quiet, because now is all you have. In this moment, what is it to do? Then do it. It really is now or never, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Corey. That was wonderful. I really appreciate it. Reminded me of a Jimmy Buffett song I just heard. He has a lot of them, but there's one he did as part of a tour after one of the big hurricanes. I think it may have even been Katrina in New Orleans or one of the big ones, but it's called Breathe In, Breathe Out, Move On. Have you heard it? And he talks about a watch that he bought from the crazy man, and you look at it, and no matter where the hands are on the watch, the time is now. What time is it? It's now. And of course, the point is, just in keeping with what you said, now is always the time. So it was very good, and I was thinking of that. So thank you so much. Well, now it is time for us to take our love offerings, our gifts, our tithes into our hands. Our offering baskets are in the back of the sanctuary as you leave the sanctuary. If you wish to put your love offering on a credit card, you can do so at the bookstore, or you can do it online with Tithely. We have flyers out in the narthex that show you how to do it online with Tithely, and it works really well. I've done it a few times myself. So let's take our love offerings into our hands. And I'm going to state the offering blessing, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat it with me. And our offering blessing states, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is the source, and I am the channel. Let's take that together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is the source, and I am the channel. Amen.